I'm ready.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. What is going on, you beautiful retail investors?
Was cracking.
Go for it.
Was cracking.
I am your host, Bill Steele, here with,
But my Sharif.
and we're going to be going over an interesting Ask Me Anything live postings from a big CEO from Better Markets, a guy with an incredible history, an incredible experience. Be sure to hit the like button, you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. We got some exciting things coming up for you and some exciting things in the future. But without further ado, let's get right into it. All right. So the gentleman that will be doing the AMA and kind of giving us a live feedback on some incredibly important questions is none other than the man Dennis Kelleher, co-founder, president, and CEO of Better Markets. He's got an insane track record, you guys. He's been on Wall Street. He's been around Wall Street, worked with big banks, worked with some insane individuals. So for him to come out onto the GME subreddit and do a little bit of a highlight for us is huge. It's major. It's like a lot of confirmation that we've been looking for.
He's one of the big guys that's actually for the people like us. Like, he's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna check it out here. Yep. So at Better Markets, Kelleher's leadership requires operating in the legislative, executive, and judicial branches simultaneously while developing and driving communication strategies to support those policy efforts. He has been quoted more than 3,000 times, done more than 140 live TV appearances, participated in more than 225 rulemakings and 25 legal cases, and testified more than 10 times. He is a pretty stout individual. Man, look at this op-ed. It's time to ramp up punishment for Wall Street wrongdoers. Whoop whoop! Look at this guy, bro. A man of the people. A man after
the apes.
My own heart. After the heart of the ape tribe, the Lunar Ape Squad. All of the retail investors out there. GameStop. Who wins and loses when short sellers, social media, and retail investors collide? Part 2. For the House Financial Services Committee, he testified. I don't know if you guys remember when one of the four Hodelman himself, the roaring kitty, roaring tiger, roaring lion,
DFV.
deep effing value, made his appearance to talk about what happened in regards to Robinhood and all that types of stuff. This gentleman, Dennis Kelleher, also made an appearance in the testifying, and he's going to be talking about that today alongside a lot of other things. I mean, look at this guy. After the GameStop fiasco, momentum builds for an $800 billion tax. Analysis, Fed's pal set table for Biden economy, but will he stay for dessert? Robinhood GameStop hearing will scrutinize how brokerages get paid for trades. Hedge fund king, a GOP mega donor, faces off with Democrats. A shadowy but powerful Wall Street firm has its moment in Washington. The list goes on and on and on and on. But let's get into some of the questions he hit today, and let's get into some of the very, very interesting information that he is providing for us. If you guys don't know, real quick, Better Markets is a news source as well. They are pretty solid, you guys. They report really quick, they report on time, and they give very thorough investigations mostly what's going on with policy and what's going on with kind of the emerging landscape that we're tracking. They've been a great resource for us here at Stonk News, and I know they can provide value to you guys in the retail investor revolution. Everything you need to know about the congressional hearing on GameStop, Robinhood, Citadel, featuring our man of the hour, Dennis Kelleher. All right, so let's get right into some of the live stuff that he is doing. Before that, you guys, be sure to like this, hit the subscribe button, share us with your friends, tweet about us. Let's get some more traction. We also just hit the 3K subscriber mark today. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. But let's keep the momentum rolling, and let's get into what we're doing with Dennis Kelleher. Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Kelleher, President and CEO of Better Markets. Some of you may know me from my recent testimony before the House Financial Services Committee on GameStop, Citadel Securities, and payment for order flow. Thanks to all of you who has cheered us on. The apes. I have almost 2 decades of experience in DC, including As a senior staffer in the U.S. Senate, I've seen firsthand how Wall Street is able to influence the policy-making process. My colleagues and I at Better Markets work to fight back against Wall Street interests and promote common sense reforms that make our financial markets more transparent and fairer. This dude is epic. We also want finance to be a wealth generation system, not a wealth extraction mechanism. Woo! This dude's saying all
deal, man.
the right things for me. All right, so this is our man Rensol, the anchorman for the morning news on Reddit. Also, if you guys know Rensol, send him my email for real. We gotta get this man on Stonk News. I'm thinking full-time anchor position. As I've sent the FTD PDF, I have some questions regarding essentially the locations. Too long didn't read for the FTD squeeze doc. All right, so we're going to go right into what Wall Street for Main Street, a.k.a. Dennis Kelleher, yes, really is reporting and responding on. It was great to watch you live during the hearing. What was your first reaction to find out about the editing done by the hearing upon release by media? So for those who don't know, really quick update. When he was on talking about what's going on with Robinhood, and when Roaring Kitty was there and, you know, the guys from Citadel and everyone came on the congressional hearing, there was some pretty extensive post-production editing done by CNBC, and he's going to talk about it right here. Well, first, thanks to the Redditor who spotted it and brought it to everyone's attention. I wasn't surprised. So he was not surprised that CNBC made some convenient edits. As I said in a press release we put out about this, CNBC is one-sided pro-Citadel and most of Wall Street. Boo. So we did find it odd that they would do it to a video of a congressional hearing. But they know their audience and don't like to offend, disappoint big finance. And he drops a little press release. You guys be sure to check out this Reddit AMA if you want to get further into what Better Markets provided on the hearing. Crucial information. Also, yeah, a lot of the Wall Street Bets crew, the Ape Tribe, the Lunar Ape Squad, kind of got the Better Markets site, I think, was down for a little bit because they were receiving so much traffic.
Yeah.
So we may have hugged your website to death. That's awesome.
Signed up for the newsletter. That's actually probably one of the most transparent and greatest resources you could get your hands on.
Yeah, definitely. I would recommend, if you guys aren't signed up for the Better Markets newsletter, check it out. It's a great resource to have in your arsenal. And you know, they make it pretty. It's extensive. It's a little bit more thorough, but if you have the time and you want to learn more, check it out.
Much better information than CNBC. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, definitely. 100% on that, bro. Why is the SEC just letting Citadel and friends crash the market? They made a terrible bet and just refused to give up. Why aren't they being held accountable for their poor choices? And the response to that from Dennis was, the biggest problem with the Citadels of the world, the hedgies, is that they are unregulated in critical respects and are allowed to operate with little transparency, oversight, or accountability. We're starting to see that change a little bit with the DTCC 801 bomb video we dropped. We kind of highlighted it. If you guys haven't seen it, be sure to check it out on the channel. We go over some of the more important legislation and things that have been introduced and are changing to hold these guys a little bit more accountable. It's not too much, but the leash is getting a little bit shorter. What we want to see is the leash get tighter.
Much tighter.
Yeah, much, much tighter. For example, it should be subject at least to regulatory SCI, but is not, and the SEC had so far refused to apply regulatory SCI to many market participants that it should be applied to. Citadel is also at the core of the fragmentation of our markets, which operates to the disadvantage of retail investors, buy side, and the financial system. So you guys are hearing it right from, you know, one of a big influencer's mouths. The nature of the landscape has never been in favor of us. We're hoping to continue to see change in that, but it really, you know, let's see, what did he say? Sorry, YC bot. Dennis responded to Rensol's comment on the top. Okay, we'll check that out right now. We'll scroll back up. But yeah, it's not built for us. Let's see.
Yeah, he looked at all that and he's like, another time, Renzel.
Yeah.
Another time.
Let's see. Yeah, he has a pretty thick question right here. Renzel coming in hot. I too would like to know. I think in here Renzel is asking about the borrow program, collapse form of FTDs, FTD squeezes. Yep, given the DD. Yeah.
That's a Netflix special, my dude.
Yeah, that's a thick question to ask. He asked a pretty thick question.
Thick.
I must say, I must say that is a question worthy of PhD study from one of the other guys. And Dennis Keller's response, thanks. This appears to have some very interesting content, but I haven't had time to read it. It requires time to not only read, but think about the many points you've raised. Renzel's response, totally understandable, and thank you for the response. Given that it is so much information, could we perhaps get a reaction on a later date to this? We would love to hear your take. Some serious ape answer right there. All right, we're going to keep going down here. I think we ended up opening up a big beast. Let's see if we can't close that. Nope. We just got to get past it. All right. Yep, so this is where we were at. What new leadership is coming in to the SEC? That is a critical question because we do have now a Democrat president in the office. So leadership will change with the transition of, a different party being in the executive branch. Biden's almost confirmed new head of SEC, Gary Gensler, who was fantastic when he headed up the CFTC. Where we hope he's going to reinvigorate the SEC, prioritize retail investors, let's go, and market protection. So all these nasty super shorters are kind of what he's referring to there, and a couple other different things. Transparency with SPACs is what I'm assuming as well will also be. SPACs is a huge subject, a hot topic. Special acquisition companies, essentially. Blank check companies. The list goes on and on for the names, guys. We're going to be pushing him to do so, and we'll be posting about it here in the future to keep you informed. There we go. Some direct Wall Street bets contributions from the big guys at Better Market. Let's see. Let's just go down a little bit more. Thank you for doing this AMA, following on Twitter, and signed up for the newsletter. Nice. There we go, guys. You heard it there. Sign up for the newsletter. Boom. Give that a little upvote, ski. Okay. Oh, also, before we continue any further, you guys, you got to give the love where it's due and give that an upvote. All right, now we're back down here. Boom, 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 boom. And a little bit further. Thank you for all you do. Oh, yeah, man, we're showing this guy some love. We are smothering him with hugs. Thanks for doing this. Do you have an opinion on the real SI of the stock versus reported? The short interest is what he's referring to here. And how can we improve transparency in the markets? Shorting needs much greater transparency is the response from Dennis Kelleher. We have called for more transparency as to timing, frequency, weekly, if not more often. Everyone doing it regardless of form, not just hedge funds. And all products used to short, synthetic exposure, etc. Naked exposure, naked shorting. The markets and market participants should know a lot more, a lot faster to level the playing field. Yes, I agree with this. I like it. If you guys have any questions on what we're discussing, if you don't understand something, if you want it a little bit more smooth for the brain, let us know in the comments. We also want to hear what you guys have to say about what we're going over. How do you feel about Dennis K? How do you feel about better markets? How do you feel about what happened at the hearing? How do you feel about the Fed hearing? All of these things, questions, comments, concerns, drop them in there for us, you guys, and we will be quick to respond and continue the exploration of what Mr. Kelleher has provided for us. So we got access denied coming in the chat. 487% short interest on naked brand stock. Second most shorted stink on dark pools. You know, man, I personally have a bunch of naked, and I got naked way back before the first GME popped off because I personally thought naked had a little bit of a better number set for me, and I'm still holding to this day. And naked, if you guys are not up to date, is not doing so hot.
I remember getting a text from you.
Yeah.
Get naked.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Get naked. Oh, the stock. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So check stock analysis website. We will be sure to do that. Access denied. Uh, give us a little bit. We're gonna go over this, and then we can definitely give you a little bit more on what's going on with Naked. But I appreciate that. Dear Mr. Kelleher, let's see. Hi, Mr. Kelleher. Thank you for doing this. My question is somewhat simple. I expect many others will already ask about the irregular, massive buy orders that have popped up for Jimmy in the past 3 days. I think that the gentleman is talking about the $290 million glitch
You don't say.
in the system. My question regards the obfuscation of data when it comes to short interest. In your view, how conceivable possible is it for entities to hide the truth of the short interest, their short positions on a given stock? How feasible would it be, if one had little regard for the law, for entities with large short positions to report far smaller ones? This is a critical question referring to the whole dark pools situation, wherein there is not an accurate reflection of what is currently going on, leading the retail investors to make misguided and uninformed decisions on taking positions and whether or not they're going to continue maintaining diamond freaking hands. For 10 years, the SEC has failed to stand up a reporting regime for equity derivatives where undoubtedly many funds have taken short positions that are not disclosed to the broader market. Boom. Here you go, guys. You guys got one of the biggest authorities in the market, in the space of what is going on between where politics meets the stock market. This guy is an industry leader saying, undoubtedly, there are individuals, large institutions, and that the SEC has failed to keep them accountable for their short positions. So this gives, you could deduce and draw a direct connection to what is going on with the dark pool situation and potentially lead you to understand or maybe, take a position where it is more valid that there are these massive floating short positions out there that are just not being reported and it's not accurately being reflected. So what does that tell me?
Shady crap.
Yeah, super shady, but we gotta hold
the line.
The line. For 10 years, the SEC. Man, that's crazy, bro. See my answer earlier as well. We repeatedly called for much greater disclosure of short interest regardless form. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Why was the hearing so focused on payment for order flow and other topics when there is insane market manipulation and illegal tactics going on? This is referring to the hearing that was on CNBC. Agree. The focus on PFOF was because of the $680 million in PFOF Robinhood received in 2020 alone for selling its retail orders to dealers in the dark markets like Citadel.
Jeez.
This inevitably creates conflict of interest where retail investors get ripped off in rigged markets. But you are right that there are a lot of other issues, some of which we called for investigations by the SEC and Department of Justice into the conduct of all financial firms here. We also addressed a number of other issues in our written testimony, including market manipulation, capital and liquidity, the need for CAT, etc., and it's why we called for a series of congressional hearings. Thankfully, HFSC, Chair Maxine Waters is doing that and standing up to the power, might, and influence of Wall Street. He then posts his written testimony for what happened with the congressional hearing.
$680 million, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
payment for 04.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. We have that. What that means, guys. The payment for order flow is it refers to.
They're basically selling your information and what you're doing. So when you really do think Robinhood's free and you don't have to pay for trades, you're paying for trades in another way, and that's probably a lot more expensive than the whole, back in the day. I remember it was $2.
Yeah, per transaction. Yeah.
Now they know exactly what you're doing. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. So if you didn't know, Robinhood sells your data, and they sell your trades. They sell where you set your limits, where you set your buy orders, all of it. So this gives a lot of other big, deep learning AI-backed firms the ability to make trades and push and pull certain stocks and certain markets as they will, using your data accordingly to know when you might automatically trigger a sell order. So
they'll short it till that, and then all the trades dump, and it creates that crazy effect.
Then they get to scoop up everyone's position at a much lower price point, and then the price of the stock eventually drives back up, cut for profits. There's all types of shady stuff that can be done with this. The manipulation is unreal.
I've started making like mental stop losses, and it's a much bigger pain in the ass and much riskier. But man, that's the only way we can really get away from that now.
Yeah, a big recommendation is definitely exactly what Vidmash said, to have diamond hands, in the sense that you have no sell limits placed, you have no sell orders placed, and you're just holding until you get your position, and you're keeping up to date with it in real time, which can be difficult, puts an extra strain on your time. But what it does is it does not give them information that they cannot be privy to know when we want to sell or where our goal is, especially if we're going to the moon, baby. So we got some questions coming in. JM asks, we just need to know if the DTCC or SEC are willing to burn some of the biggest market makers and wealthy investors that spread so much money around, and finally margin call all these naked trades. That is the golden question, the golden egg, straight from the goose's tail. Will it ever happen, or will they just be forced to pay fines and unwind naked trades behind the scenes slowly over time, negating any short squeeze scenario? I'm having some faith. And I'm willing to say that because there's already so much media and news attention, and there's so much more accountability on these guys, the stock market has become a much bigger playing field. A much larger amount of human consciousness is being focused onto this subject, and where there is more observation, there is more light. And I do have faith that, whether it's the DTCC or the SEC or the president or whoever has to get involved, I think we're going to watch some big boys burn. I definitely do think that is coming. That is in an inevitable future. We just have to continue to do what we can do as retail investors, as a community, as the working class, the people that really strap up what it takes to continue to provide for the economy on our backs. We need to stay vigilant. We need to stay focused in order to make this happen. So I would say yes. That is my personal opinion. How do you feel about that, Dimash?
I agree, and the beautiful thing is, it's us retail investors. We're the ones making this push, and it's such a significant moment in history, man. We're all part of this.
Yeah,
and it's because of us these great changes are coming, and feels good, man.
Yeah,
feels
and as these changes continue to roll out, we're gonna see there will be pushback on the corruptive side of things. But if we stay with this steam that we have, and we continue to actively disrupt the financial institutions, actively disrupt the way that money flows in these systems and mechanisms, inevitably there will be change, and inevitably it will be beneficial to us. We just have to keep at it. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Like all good things, change will come. You have to keep at the wheel of persistence, day in and day out for years, man. That's just gonna be how it is.
The jig is up, Hedgies.
Yeah, straight up. Access denied comes in again. I will just DCA naked until we bust the hedgies on this naked stock. GME would be 3K now if they had these amounts of short interest. That is very true. And we will, I firmly believe we will see several of these heavily shorted stonks going straight up to the freaking moon, dude, blasting off like a freaking Falcon 9, taking some of that Starlink into space. All right, so J Smart, innovative analyzation ape.
I love these guys, man.
It's so funny. What's your opinion on hidden orders and how HFT HFT traders benefit from them to manipulate prices? What's your opinion on exchanges offering order types that retail investors cannot access, and how this perpetuates inequality within the stock market, disenfranchising us? The concentrated trading largely uh, through 7 HFTs allows those firms to extract multiple forms of special privileges, all of which distort the markets and hurt retail investors. Again, we are hearing the same message come across from this authority in this field, a man that is literally helping to pave and bulldoze through the just sludge of toxic, green, radioactive, like cesspool that is the hedge funds and the financial institutions that have currently built it up to be what it is. This man is really taking it on himself to be an authority in this field and to give us legitimate answers. He says it again. There is inequality currently, so that's important to note, you guys.
Yeah, quick side note: HFT that's high frequency trading, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do 7 HFTs, yeah. HFT has created rig markets for the purpose of wealth extraction, which is enabled due to fragmented dark markets with little regulation. If the SEC took its responsibility to protect investors and markets, it would have ended this long ago. Unfortunately, apart from lacking the courage, the balls to do it, the SEC doesn't even have the tools to monitor the markets today. Wow. That's embarrassing.
There's an app for that.
Yeah, literally, man. It's a lot like what we saw with the Jerome Powell hearing, man. We got all these, like, no offense, just boomers that just can't operate technology. They're probably like, we don't really know how to do that. We don't have the tools necessary.
This is Windows 99, man.
Yeah. Let me stick to my XP. They don't know half of what the HFT and Citadels of the world know. That's insane. That's why they must complete the consolidated audit trail at ASAP. The cat. And start going after predatory behavior like preferential data access and unfair privilege, including stopping the approval of special order types that serve no purpose other than market manipulation and entrenching HFTs. That's huge. So, guys, if you can participate in the pushing of the consolidated audit trail, I recommend you check it out. You get it done. You participate in any way you can, whether it's by signing petitions, getting involved with your local state, legislature. If you are in a position of influence, use that. If you can donate money to some of these programs, I don't know what's available out there. We will do our research and we will put it out in one of our forums, either social medias, our website that's coming out soon, or on a YouTube video. Be on the lookout for that, guys, because that's definitely something I noted on. Also, for everyone thanks for joining us. Be sure to give us some comments in there. If you guys have questions on anything that we're doing, your opinions on the man, Dennis Kelleher, the man of the hour, and anything that you guys have questions on, be sure to drop it in there. Hit that like button. Give us a little boost in the algo. Share. We are here for the retail investors. We are here for you. We are here for us. Was great to watch you in the hearing. What is stopping the SEC, the SEC or DTCC from forcing a cover at this point? It seems we're making progress, but they don't understand the risk to the rest of the markets. Why the delay? No need if the regulators require transparency and impose certain operational requirements, like not repeated FTDs, so the markets can see what's going on and decide for themselves. Inform and empower markets is always our first choice. Yes, I agree with that statement 100%. Empower the freedom of decision and empower capitalism. I love it. If after that there are still problems, misconduct, or illegal behavior, then regulators who should be monitoring the markets all along, see the cat answer, the one we just discussed, can decide to take further action. I always have been on the side that less regulation is better, but there is a necessary amount of regulation for games to be played. You need to have parameters for the game to even be conducted, and the job of the referee, in this instance the SEC, the federal government, the Fed, is to make sure that it only sets fair and equal playing grounds for the game to be done. No one's privy to special information. No one's privy to special methods. It should be equal across the board. Next question to Mr. Kelleher. Could you please outline regulations that you would like to see passed regarding short sales, specifically naked shorts and settlement periods? I feel like being unable to account for shares in a digital market is bogus and would love to hear your opinion. So let's hear what he has to say. I addressed some of this earlier regarding short selling. Naked short selling is already illegal, but the standard of reasonable belief to deliver de facto permits to much of it. Deliver de facto permits too much of it. Interesting. Yeah. Also, there must be greater regulation and transparency of the securities lending and relending business, sometimes referred to as rehypothecation. Interesting. That's the first time I've heard that term, actually. There is very broad consensus that settlements should move to T+1 and for there to be a rigorous study of moving to less than T+1. Yeah, which has obvious benefits, but also some valid concerns, at least at this point. Your point about a digital marketplace is on point, but there are issues with netting, which is good for all, and moving to real time or near real time that have to be thought through. Interesting.
I got rehypothecation. It's a practice whereby banks and brokers use for their own purposes assets that have been posted as collateral by their clients.
Hmm. Oh. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
You want to pull that
Well,
picture
yeah,
up, bro?
we'll definitely have to do a little bit more into that. Also, thanks Access Denied. We love you too, man.
Much love.
Keep at it on your end. Everything you can do as a retail investor will contribute to this revolution, you guys. We also, again, guys, hit 3K just today. We really appreciate you. Everything you've done to support the channel and support us and support the growth of the Stonk News Network is feeding more resources for us to get you real-time information on the financial system, financial education, and financial markets for the retail investors. We are here for the retail investors. We ourselves are retail investors. We are in this to win it. And let's get to the next question. Thank you so much for fighting for what is right and taking the time to do this. Ask Me Anything. It is greatly appreciated. Yes, thank you, Mr. Kelleher. It is believed that hedge funds are able to openly short ETFs containing GME to lower the price of GME completely out in the open for everyone to see for no other purpose than to lower the price of GameStop. And nobody is there to stop this. If they have this capability, then essentially the whole market is at their control and most likely, and they can and most likely do profit off this immensely, of course. Is this not viewed as blatantly obvious market manipulation? What can be done to stop this practice? Thanks. Very good question. And I have to think about that and look into it a little bit more. Unfortunately, market manipulation is all too common. So again, we are hearing the same message. So if it isn't already drilled into the smoothest of brains, you have to know this. Market manipulation is very real. And there are big players in this game, and it is not fair. Not only is it not fair in the literal marketplace itself and what numbers you are looking at when you are trading on Webull, on Robinhood, on Thinkorswim, on TD Ameritrade, on Bloomberg if you're a baller. But it is also taking place in the news, in the media. That is why YouTube has been such a critical component. Social media has been such a critical component. Reddit has been such a critical component in the development of the current retail investor landscape and in shaping what has been going on, you guys, because we are able to freely share information amongst ourselves. If no one can do it for us, what do?
Do it ourselves.
Exactly.
No one can buy us.
No one can buy us. And we, that's an example is us here at Stonk News Network. We are not for sale. Plain and simple. We will never be for sale. We are here both because we are retail investors, but also because we're here to create transparency in the marketplace and to facilitate real news in real time. So we'll get back to this question and see what he has to say about what the state of market manipulation is. Unfortunately, market manipulation is all too common and too often via legal strategies or worse, result from SEC negligence or lack of ability. Yeah, that's just kind of the state of what we live in right now, you guys. We are working every day to change it, though. Oh, nice. We got a long one here. My questions revolve around the narratives that large players in the market seem to make. Jim Cramer outlined how this would be done in the widely shared video from quite some time ago, and we appeared to have seen this playbook used with GME. Interesting. Many of us have seen extremely suspicious stories about price drops and the direction of the company. This would be seen as normal if we weren't paying such apt attention to the ongoing saga. Does regulation exist to prevent collusion between the various players and media pushing their agenda for particular stocks? And is it tight enough to have a reasonable chance of enforcement? If not, is there a path to such regulation that could disentangle media from specific market interests? This is literally just what I talked about. The transparency that media needs to be giving to the retail investors and to just the rest of the world, you guys. I've been getting tons of messages and comments from retail investors all around the world that are trying to participate actively in the U.S. market. So This is huge for us. We're gaining traction. The minnows are coming together to create massive swarms. Number 2, one narrative that has been seen is how Reddit retail investors are colluding and breaking the laws while we see what appears to be blatant disregard for those same laws as well as others by these accusers. Do you think that retail investors are breaking the law, and is there a functional mechanism to stop not only Citadel but from others engaging in these activities? In your opinion, how does retail investors research or due diligence compared to professional and insider analysts? We have seen retail painted as everything from morons to criminals to hyper-rational predators. Sorry if these questions are too long-winded.
Those are some great questions.
I love it. I love it. All right. And the man of the hour, Mr. DK, Donkey Kong, Dennis Kelleher. Oh, my gosh. Yo, guys, I think I just found out Dennis Keller's new nickname. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong, Dennis Kelleher, DK. It's unfortunate, but the media is like a beast that has to always be fed. And the financial industry is an expert at feeding the media the content that they want. Of course, it helps that the financial industry is also a major source of ad revenue for the media, which not surprising. And you know what? Notice this. There has never been a retail investor news network until the Stonk News Network. There was never one. The access to apps like Robinhood and Webull now provided a necessity for something like our news network to come onto the scene, which is exactly what he's describing here, because our interest is not in the interest of financial institutions. Our interest is in the interest of retail investors. Of course, yes. The result is that the reporting is way too often one-sided, as I mentioned earlier regarding CNBC and Citadel, and I stated in my press release video. In fairness, they are not all like that, and we have received a lot of good coverage over the years, and there are a lot of very good reporters, editors, producers who would like to have more balance, but the system is, sorry to repeat myself, rigged and effectively bought to cater to the advertisers. I could give some specific examples, but then even more outlets would reduce their coverage of us. That's hilarious. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, my friend. You're also right about what frequently appears to be collusion and manipulation. This again gets back to, frankly, really bad regulators. For years now, the SEC, Department of Justice, and other regulators, prosecutors have simply failed to enforce the law without fear or favor. They are mostly former and future white-collar defense lawyers who, not surprisingly, don't go after their past and future corporate clients. Makes sense, you know? You don't want to, potentially run out a future $1 million deal, you know? You're looking out for your best interest. Makes sense. Even when they do, they almost always only find the company and let the officers and executives who pocket literally hundreds of millions of dollars get off. Yeah, we see this all too often. Just period, end of story. That has to change before our markets get cleaned up and retail investors on the buy side generally gets protected. Yep, I agree. This report we did on the Wall Street crime spree might interest you. I'm going to copy that link real quick, and I'm going to drop it in here. If you guys are interested, check that bad boy out. That is the report that we did on the Wall Street crime spree. That's from Better Markets, and we are going over, for those who are just joining us, the response from the CEO of Better Markets, Donkey Kong, Dennis Kelleher, and his take on what is going on with everything surrounding GameStop and the congressional hearing that we recently had. All right, let's see. We get any more responses, Mr. DK?
Do you want to go up and hit
refresh?
best? Maybe some of the top comments can come up.
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
This thing got slammed with comments, man.
Yeah. Suggested. Let's do best. All right. Yep. Bump. Ooh.
Nice.
Did we go over this one?
Yeah,
we did. Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
all right.
We hit that one too.
I mean, this one? Yep. Holy cow.
Yeah, he didn't even look. He was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, here we go. Oh, wow. This is a really good question, you guys. Thank you for doing this, Mr. Kelleher. We appreciate you. We love you. We got that. Some questions I think this board is this board is interested in. Of course, if any put you in a sticky situation, please ignore, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong. We will start with question 1 and go to his response and then backtrack between them like that. Do you believe order routing, especially with it being incentivized by payment for order flow via dark pools, has any impact on the fair public share price of stocks?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. PFOF, which is what he's referring to up here, you guys, totally distorts the order routing process and screws retail investors buy side while harming transparent public markets. So you heard it again, straight from the man himself. That negatively affects not just us, but anyone on the buy side. While affecting the transparency of public markets, it should be banned along with the other secret payments that create undisclosed conflicts of interest. So there's the dark pools could be even bigger. It could be a dark ocean, a dark world of what we're looking at, you guys. There's a lot of different mechanisms. If there's one thing I've learned about really, really super talented lawyers and super talented Wall Street executives, they have great creativity in learning how to create new mechanisms to be shady. They're really, really great at getting creatively shady. Like I'm talking like so shady, like unobservable space shady, like light from our universe hasn't even reached there yet. That's how shady these guys are.
Dark pools,
like,
man. How creative.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So it should be banned. Plus, so-called price movement based on the NBBO is misleading, if not fraud. We spelled this out in my written testimony here. Again, guys, taking this link and dropping it right into the live stream if you guys are interested in checking this out.
With the PFOF, man, that's definitely not, I mean, it's definitely completely against us and it's not cool, but having to not pay for trades is also awesome.
Yeah.
How, like, I don't know, like it's such a, like that's the only way we would have the free trading. I mean, in your opinion, like which one would you prefer?
There could be really, really creative solutions to that. We will get back to that exact subject. I want to get through these questions first, but let's definitely bring that back up. What creative ways could we continue free trading for retail investors without sacrificing the integrity of what positions we're taking and where we're at?
Because that's the only reason that it is free.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but data is the most valuable commodity right now in the world. So that has a lot to do with why the justification of free trades exists in the first place. But we will continue on to question 2. How easy is it for market makers to reset their failure to deliver obligations, and in what ways can they do this? The FTD in this is inexplicable based on the public information, but it has all the hallmarks of abusive behavior, and hopefully this is part of the SEC investigation, which they would publicly report on when done. As I noted in my written testimony, we also believe the SEC should review regular Reg SHO and its others rules and ensure that there are appropriate sanctions for violations, especially for those who repeatedly and perhaps strategically fail to deliver. Yeah, that's serious. And as we have stated repeatedly, those actions must be against individuals and not just companies. Otherwise, they will keep doing it and letting firms just get off by paying fines. Question 3. What does bona fide market making actually entail and allows market makers to extend to T+6 for an FTD as opposed to others who have T+3? Do you think this should be more heavily enforced? And he skips it. So, yep, sticky situation. He skips 4 as well, so I won't even bother answering that question. And we'll go to 5. Do you think the reasonable belief aspect of this rule should be taken away as Europe and other markets have implemented? And do you think this equates to a fairer market? The alleged benefit of liquidity just seems not, just does not seem to stack with the risk of shorting above the float and potential price manipulation, as this board well knows. Yes, reasonable belief is far too permissive and too often no standard at all. 6, what is your opinion on dark pools generally? To me, lack of oversight seems ripe for use of strategies. Yes, we've already kind of discussed this, you guys. Frankly, anything called dark pool should be a red flag.
You don't say.
For not only lack of transparency, but also lack of oversight and accountability. It's just asking for trouble rather than allowing alternative trading revenues. The SEC simply must focus on making our public, transparent markets robust and fair. Exactly. I love that this guy keeps it simple, keeps it plain. Transparency, openness, and equality within the market is how we facilitate and foster a truer and better market. Because at the end of the day, guys, the stock market, it's a great place to make money, and if you're good at trading and you're good at forecasting. But at the end of the day, it really is a mechanism for companies who want to do good things in regards to public sentiment to have more capital and to get the position and to be traded and to be more valued so that they can grow. This is the mechanism for fertilizing, if you will, the grass, the lawn of all of the businesses that are openly traded in the United States and in other markets. They do the same thing as well, but I'm really only talking about the U.S. here. This is a mechanism for us to grow companies, for businesses to grow, and at the end of the day, to improve the lives of everyone in that society. So yes, for this this place that we're trading to become equal is the nature of what I believe the United States was founded upon. It was equality and freedom and the ability to engage in the pursuit of happiness. And that is really only, I would argue, doable in a market that is equal, that the playing rules and the grounds are fair, because then the only person that you can essentially blame is yourself. So we will continue further down and check out another response. Why was the hearing so focused on payment for order flow and other topics? Oh, we talked about that one already. Yep, we talked about that. And yeah, we talked about that. And we talked about the new head of the SEC as well. Again, you guys, show us some love. Hit that like button if you're just joining us. We got a lot of exciting things coming out to you guys. Ooh. I like this one. We didn't go over this one, did we? No. So first of all, thank you so much. Yes, Donkey Kong King. Donkey King. My question is, when the SEC isn't doing its job policing the market from illegal activities, what can we, the people, do to bring attention to these issues? Does the SEC have formal filings we can complete and contribute to? They do, actually. So you can actually comment on SEC filings and give concerns and voice concerns. I know the DTCC also allows it as well. There are ways for your voice to be heard. Whether or not it's going to fall on ears that are open is another question. So public accountability is always the best course of action, in my opinion. Take it to the streets, let it be heard, let the people get behind it, and let there be actual change. The only thing that you have to do is stay consistent, stay at it, stay at the grind wheel.
Strengthen numbers.
Exactly. Yeah, ape stronger together. Does the SEC have formal filings we can make contribute to, or should we be contacting their members on Twitter to make sure action is taken? First and foremost, we need whistleblowers to come forward and report illegal conduct to the SEC. We included special provisions for this in the Dodd-Frank Act, which has resulted in whistleblowers being awarded billions of dollars. We detailed that in this report. Again, I will copy this link for what's going on with the better markets and drop it in for you guys. Boom, sent. Unfortunately, Trump's SEC enacted a rule to weaken this program because Wall Street and corporate America hates it, as we pointed out here. Interesting. And as we commented on here, again, I will copy that link address and toss it in. Check it out, guys. Take a look at the whistleblower programs. In addition, people can report wrongdoing to the SEC directly here. Boom. This
you
is
just copy paste that whole link so people know that's the exact one.
Which one?
Like, so you can just be like, report the wrongdoing and everything. So.
Oh yeah. Report SEC wrongdoing. And I have definitely used that that report mechanism before. We went over this one already. No question here. Just wanted to thank you. Yeah, man, this dude's getting so much love. I love it. All right. Nope. We went over that one too. Wow. This one's going to be interesting. Huh. That's a big question to unpack. I'm just going to start at the how likely. How likely is it that orders being routed through these big market makers from retail platforms that contradict or countermand the positions of these market makers' investment arms are being weaponized in such a way that is to benefit the market maker and not the customer? You have identified many problems with fragmented markets. This is a term that he's used 3 times now, referring to kind of the state of the current markets that we're in the United States. Conflicts of interest, lack of transparency, and lack of regulation, or at least enforcement. I addressed most of these in earlier response, but the key points is that a handful of HFTs are in the most privileged positions to know where the market is and where it is going, so it's unfair. Remember that these HFT firms are also market makers on the exchanges and are virtually seeing the flow in the dark and lit markets and can impact prices in both markets. It really doesn't get much better than that if you're them. If you're a retail investor or the buy side, well, not so much. Unfortunately, we are largely at their mercy, hoping they will resist the enormous temptation to use that information improperly, if not illegally, because there's so little regulation and oversight. One thing to note, you guys, in the reality that these individuals, these HFTs, are actually abusing the literal, like, just piss out of their information flow and the resources that they have at their disposal. Everything is recorded. There is a digital footprint to everything, which is why I love the internet. We will be able to backtrack and watch and see exactly what they did when they did it and hold them accountable when the day comes that the full x-ray examination of all of their dirty track record and history and use of dark pools and all this information becomes public. This is something to note because when this day comes, and it is soon, we here will definitely be highlighting it, pushing it, blasting it, giving the information to you guys so that you guys are properly armed in how you can participate and what you can do to bring the individuals that are abusing these systems out into a light and into a position where they are being held accountable, and the market is changed, and there's permanent change for our children, for the generations to come, and for the businesses to come, for the entities that are have yet to be birthed or are feeling the growing pains of this fragmented market. An example of this would be Tesla. Unfortunately, the way to change this is for the SEC to get CAT up and running ASAP, enforce the law aggressively against firms. Yes, deconstruct the algos and source codes so we aren't in the current position of having to trust these financial firms to do the right thing and always follow the law. As we have seen in the enforcement actions against Citadel, Robinhood, and many others, trust without verifying is foolish. Yes, it is. All right, last question, you guys, and we are going to be hopping off the stream. Let's get right into this big question right here. A lot of folks here are heartened by the number of representatives willing to denounce Wall Street hedge fund at the last committee hearing. This was a good thing for us. However, there's also a widespread feeling that their hearts are in the right place by focusing on issues like gamification and payment for order flow. Most of the reps are missing bigger issues like illegal naked shorting and blatant market manipulation via things like short ladder attacks. And the effects of things like reasonable belief, standard, and weak and consistent enforcement by the SEC. Do you agree with that view? I don't think it's either or, it's both. We have to address gamification, paid for order flows, etc., as well as naked short selling, manipulation, etc. Regarding representatives, you should definitely call and write them. Again, you guys, this is where you can participate as a member in the U.S. society or not. You can send letters to these people, period, end of story, and they are legally obligated to read them. That is what happens when you are sworn into a public office, when you are a civil servant in those kinds of positions. So they will have to at least acknowledge your voice. And if we send it in a large enough volume, it's going to kind of permeate their mind. They're going to have to think about the 500 letters that they've read in the last week regarding what is going on in the SEC, in the financial market in the United States. Jeez, bagged Biggard. My goodness. That is a strong opinion, sir.
But yeah, man, they have destroyed many, many lives.
Yes, they have. Not many lives, many companies. I mean, yeah, there could who knows how deep the effect of this market manipulation really goes into objective reality, into what we all participate in. But I will continue to his answer. The most attention. You have a lot of yes, you have a lot of power. Most House members hear from very few people. So if 10 to 20 to 30 people contact an office on an issue, it gets attention. Could you guys imagine like 500? I mean, shoot, just like in the amount of people that have come into this particular live stream alone, if we had every single one of them just write one letter, that's just
a lot of letters.
Yeah, that's a lot of letters. Not even including like some of the bigger channels, bigger participants. It's gonna be that would be great. The most attention will come if you contact the House member from your district where you live, i.e., you're a potential voter, and therefore they care about you a lot. So call and write and tell them. Turn up the heat on the bad guys in Wall Street. Stop specific issues like PFOF, conflicts of interest, etc. Continue to have public oversight hearings, which brings attention to these issues. Again, there has to be consciousness focused on these subjects in order for there to be light shed on them, and in order for there to be rippling effects in our society, in our culture. Pressure on regulators, put pressure on regulators like the SEC and prosecutors like the Department of Justice to do their jobs and actually protect retail investors in the buy side. Make your voices heard in Washington as well as on Reddit. Call, write, then call them again, and then write them again. That's what we can do, you guys. That's what we can do. That is what is in our hands. That is what is in your hands as retail investors. We can make our voices heard and then follow through and make sure it's accountable. Again, it will be a grind. It is a marathon, but if we stay consistent at it, we can win the race. I'd gladly... Oh my gosh, Bagged. Yo, my man. Bagged. Biggard. Woo! I'd fly the rocket. I love it. I love it, man.
What a name.
Yeah,
Bagged Biggard.
Bagged Biggard.
I like it.
All right, guys. That's it from us today here at the Stonk News Network. I am your host, Bill Steele.
But Mas Sharif.
We love you guys. We appreciate your support. You lunar apes, you crayon eaters, you smooth brain beauties, you beautiful retail investors. Catch us every day, Monday through Friday on the stream. We're going to come out with some exciting videos, some more educational content. Our website is going to be released in the next couple of upcoming weeks. If you guys haven't checked out our Instagram, be sure to check out the Instagram. We dropped a couple of previews for some of the shirts and different things we will be providing if you decide you want to rep the Stonk News Network, if you decide you want to have the rocket going to the moon on your chest, because we are here to watch liftoff. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Much love.
We will see you next time. Dope.